This has been a very strange Lent for all of us, and I hope in some way we've been able to make some meaning out of it, find some meaning out of it, come to know ourselves a little better as we join our sufferings to the sufferings of Christ. But here we are on Easter morning. Jesus Christ is risen. He is risen indeed. That beautiful ancient salutation of the Easter season. I want to look at this gospel because it's really interesting. On the first day of the week, the 7 days of the week mirror the 7 days of creation. So on this day of recreation, Mary Magdalene came to the tomb. Listen, she came, past tense, to the tomb. She saw, then she ran and went to Simon Peter. It's very active. Came, saw, ran, went. And there's something in that simplicity of language and power that there's an imperative there. This is why Mary Magdalene is called the apostle to the apostles, because she brings them the news that the tomb is empty. Even though she doesn't have any possible dream that Jesus could be resurrected. They didn't understand that yet. And Simon and John, the beloved disciple, run and see. These are three key people from Good Friday. Mary Magdalene and John are at the foot of the cross, along with Mary. And Peter is in the high priest courtyard. And it's not until the disciple that Jesus loves, John calls himself that. He never names himself John in the gospel. In the list of the disciples, he does. But he always refers to himself in the action of the gospel as the one that Jesus loved. And he does that in a way to put each of us in his place. Right? So, John is telling us through using that beloved disciple imagery that we have to come to believe in the resurrection. That the resurrection has to be real for each of us. And especially in a time like this when hope seems like a dream, as it did for the apostles on Good Friday and Holy Saturday. When hope seems like a dream, we have to remember that God is in charge. Remember, I said, this mirrors the 7 days of creation, the Jewish week, our week. That's why, if you look on your calendar, your week doesn't start on Monday, it starts on Sunday. The first day of the week, the first day of creation. At the very beginning of John's Gospel, he tells us, in the beginning, the Word was with God. And then the Word was God. And that a light entered the world, and the darkness could not overtake it. That's why this scene is set in the pre-dawn darkness of Easter Sunday morning. Because the light of the resurrection is about to be manifest to the apostles. To those who, as Peter says, were chosen beforehand. Peter the denier, has become the apostles Peter, the evangelist, preaching the good news. The good news that everyone who believes in him will receive forgiveness of their sins through his name. And then we hear from the other great evangelist, St. Paul, in his letter to the Colossians in our second reading. Brothers and sisters, if then you were raised with Christ, seek what is above. Think of what is above, not what is on the earth. Really good advice for us right now. Really good advice for us. Because I think a lot of us are driving ourselves crazy being pent up either alone or with our families. I don't know which is worse. I saw an internet meme and told a middle-aged man, said, "Sir, you've got to be quarantined, and you have two choices. A, you can go back to your wife and kids and be quarantined there for 2 weeks." Or he said, "I'll take B." He didn't even wait to hear what it was. You know, a lot of us are at that point right now. But you know what? We're about a month into this thing. Think of what our military families, not to mention our military, have done for the last 20 years. While we enjoyed a booming economy. So unite yourselves with them in this time of sacrifice. Unite yourselves to Christ in this time of sacrifice. And then resurrection becomes a true possibility. Transformation becomes a true possibility. We come out of this as better people because our only other choice is to come out of this crazy. And that's not a choice we need to make. If you have died to yourself and your life is hidden with God in Christ, that's what we have to do. For we have died to ourselves. When Christ, your life, appears, then you too will appear with him in glory. That's the promise. To get through this, we need one another. So call your mama. And we need God. Otherwise, we'll be lost in the darkness. May the joy of this Easter morning be with you and all of your families. God bless you.